600,000 teenagers opened their GCSE and other Level 2 results yesterday, with the pass rate falling again. It's now down to 67.4% of all grades in England, Wales and Northern Ireland at 4, which is a C and above. The number of people resitting their exams has also gone up. Nearly a quarter of those sitting Maths and English GCSEs were aged 17 or older. Most of them are students who didn't pass the first time round. Does that mean the exams are just too tough nowadays? Or should they carry on taking and retaking until they finally pass? How was it in your house yesterday? Maybe you're still coping with the disappointment, the disillusionment. You're shoring up children who somehow, although they did work hard, didn't get the results that they wanted. Now, you've got children, so have you, Paula, who are just going through it now.
Oh, it's hard. My eldest, I remember when he did his 11 plus, and that was really young age, and it was a lot of pressure. Now, Corey thrived in the classroom. He didn't in exams. He did well in GCSEs and a little bit in O-levels. He did fairly well. But in 11 plus, it was too young. It was too much, and there was too much pressure. And for what? He doesn't use that anymore. Like, what life tests you on is resilience, is confidence and is rejection. You know, I think it's just far too much for young kids to be going through this.
And what do you think, Paula? Because obviously you're a barrister, you've needed every ounce of your academic training and everything you've learned you use.
Yes.
So how do you feel about it?
So it's quite interesting in terms of the GCSEs, and I appreciate that we've seen this drop, and we're being told when we read the article that we're looking at this kind of COVID overlap, these children coming through from the COVID era. I'm not sure that it's about them being tough, more so that actually our education system is just not preparing our children in the way that they need to be. So I think they're failing our children in terms of this kind of rigid exam that we have to kind of revise for, and we have to sit at our desk and fall asleep for 6 to 7 hours. It suits some people, it doesn't suit everybody. And I think we're failing our children. And if we look at AI, Vanessa, for example, and the growth expansion in relation to AI, our children are not being prepared for that. We have people in the AI industry who aren't prepared for its growth. You know, we need an education system, don't we, that has the ability to look across the board at what are the best outcomes for our children, and I feel that that's where we're letting our children down.
Having said all of that, we need a way to measure what they've attained, and it has to be a way, and everyone has to do the same thing, otherwise you can't compare and contrast. Let's hear from Cosmo on this, because we didn't...
I think they're too tough for adults as well, as you will shortly see in the answers to these questions. But when I did my O-levels and stuff, some people just aren't good at exams, and I'm one of them. Not only did I fail all my O-levels, but when I resat them, I failed worse. I got lower grades.
Seriously?
Yeah. So some people just can't do it. I don't think they should. They should find other professions or whatever.
What do you think was stopping you passing?
Being thick. I don't think there was anything, I wasn't very bright at school.
We know it's not.
Seriously, I'm not kidding. I wasn't good academically.
But you've gone on to be, one of the country's foremost film critics. You're a renowned journalist.
But that has nothing to do with intelligence or academic ability.
So you'd sit there in the exam, and what would happen to you? You just couldn't remember it?
I couldn't remember. My mind went over. I failed miserably. It was embarrassing.
And I don't think it suits all children to sit in an exam environment, but they thrive in other areas of intelligence.
Let's go to Colleen in London on the line. Hello there. What do you think?
Hello.
Hi.
I would say children today, there's people who do miserable at exams. They're not good at taking exams, yes? They fail. But I would say I came from the Caribbean when I was 14, went to a comprehensive school, did CSEs in those days. Yes? Yeah. I qualified as a social worker later in life and went on in my later life at 70. I did GCSE, Maths, English, and I did Spanish as well.
Gosh.
But I think children do not want to apply themselves. They think everything is easy and put on a plate. You have to apply yourself. They are children who will not do well sitting in exam situation. But a lot of the other kids do not apply themselves enough, and that's what I would say.
So you don't feel, Colleen, that the whole system needs to be changed and it needs to take into account the children who, like Cosmo, are bright and practical but just not good at exams? You don't feel it needs to be changed?
There are facilities available in schools for that now, but they don't make use of it. There are facilities available.
What do you mean? Do you mean sort of remedial classes, that kind of thing?
Yes,
is that what you mean?
Yes, there are classes there. It's not like it's not there. It's there to help them. Yeah.
Well, you went on to do extremely well later on. Should we ask some of these questions?
Oh, no, don't do this to me. You know that TV show?
I have seen them before,
Don't
and
be
they
cruel.
are absolute stinkers, quite frankly. Let's start with this one.
I've renewed my practicing certificate,
So here's the first one. Which of the following infectious diseases is caused by bacteria? So is it A, measles, B, gonorrhea, C, malaria, or D, HIV? And these are genuine GCSE questions. Do you have any idea?
I'm going to go for measles.
I would go for measles.
I was going to go for gonorrhea.
It was one or the other.
I realise it's going to say that in the papers tomorrow.
I know, good.
Let's go for gonorrhea.
Because I know on first hand.
Okay, well, I can tell you the answers, but I'm not going to tell you whether I really knew this or whether I only know this because I've been told this. But measles is caused by a virus. Malaria is caused by a parasite. HIV is also a virus.
Yes.
So the correct answer, Suzanne Shaw, who gets an A on this one.
Thank you.
Gonorrhea.
And that's how I winged my GCSEs.
Picturesque question that was. Let's go to another delightful question. Who or what, animal, vegetable or mineral, no, what is an isotope?
It's something to do with
Like
chemistry.
magnifying sort of thing, glass, microscope.
No.
Sort of
I don't know.
Yeah. I've not got the faintest. I don't know.
Not got a
either.
clue.
I'm going to say something to do with chemistry.
Because it's going to tell me on the autocue. So it says an isotope is atoms of an element that have the same number of protons but different number of neutrons in their nuclei are called isotopes. Did you understand that?
No.
I didn't. I did not understand
say?
one word of that.
clue.
And I got biology O level. Does that count? That's about 1805. I didn't understand one word of that. But anyone who thinks these exams are an absolute walkover and they've been dumbed down to the max, you should jolly well try answering that question, right? It's very difficult. OK, here is the final question for you three. When did women get the vote in Britain on equal terms with men?
the 20s.
1939.
Oh, I think it's later than both, but I couldn't be
You've got to give me a year.
I've got to give you a year. I'm going to say 40s.
I'm going to say 1923.
Oh, I want to change my answer.
It was after
Am I
the
allowed
First
to do
World
that?
War.
I think it's after the second.
So Cosmo's going for 1923. You're going for the 40s.
I'll stick with 1939.
OK, well, the correct answer is, and Cosmo wins the prize for this one, the Equal Franchise Act of 1928 granted equal voting rights to women and men. As a result, both men and women could vote at the age of 21. I mean, that's a typical GCSE question, isn't it?
Well, I should have known that because I did a play about it.
Did you?
Yeah, and I I know I've got no excuse.
Pankhurst, did you?
No, it was called About Miss Julie, and I was it was like an upstairs downstairs thing, and I was the girl downstairs, and I was fighting for the rights for women to get the vote, and I should have known that answer. So
1928. There we are. Let's go to David in Lancashire. David, what do you think? Are exams just too difficult? Is that why the pass rate is flagging this year?
Yes, good day, everyone.
Hello.
Hi,
Make
David.
exams easier? Certainly not. What I would suggest is that we could introduce an additional subject, self-discipline and personal responsibility.
I mean, I think people might welcome you, David, to their schools if you could teach that. But how do you teach, for example, self-discipline? How do you teach it?
Well, that's an interesting question because I've been pondering that, and I was considering whether, in fact, we could find anybody left who's capable of teaching self-discipline and personal responsibility, but I'll happily volunteer to write the syllabus.
I mean, let me tell you something. You know, we've just talked about giving the sofas away and swapping them. You know, we've swapped them for 3 chairs for my guests here, which you can probably see them sitting comfortably in because they were too squashed on the original sofa. But David, I don't know what you would have thought had you been in my position, and guest after guest was wiggling, fidgeting, because they were squashed, they were uncomfortable, they were moving. Every time I was trying to speak or do anything, like I was being distracted. And I kept thinking, where's their self-discipline? OK, they're uncomfortable. They should still sit still. They're on television. What is the matter with them? Why haven't they been taught to sit still and behave? But they hadn't been taught, David, to sit still and behave. So what would you have said to them? To say, stop, Vanessa's trying to work. Stop fidgeting the whole... Be uncomfortable for a bit. It's not the end of the world. Just learn to live with it, for goodness sake. What would you have done?
Well, I'd have probably said sit still and grow up. And,
I didn't dare because I have to be nice to my panellists. I can't really say sit still and grow up. And I wish I had
I'm not going to move now.
I
And pounds, I am not moving.
They're a bit more comfortable. They're making less of a fuss. David, thank you so much. Let's go to Nicole in Warwickshire. What do you think, Nicole?
I don't think exams actually show intelligence or their understanding of material. I have ADHD, so I actually had to be in a separate room from other people because I couldn't be in a room. I couldn't be in a room with other people because I would distract other people. I'd find it quite hard with my anxiety and everything. So I would have to be in a separate room. And I remember one of my GCSE geography exams, and we had to remember 12 pieces of work for one single question, and it could have been 1 out of 12 of those options. That's just remembering stuff. That's just you having to sit there and just remember each bit of coursework. Whereas in one of my English lessons, we did a piece of work, we were able to do it at home, write bullet point bits, and then we actually went in one-on-one with our teacher and we did a conversation about our understanding of the piece of work. And surprisingly, I got a really good grade in that because it wasn't just remembering what we needed to remember and literally being able to quote everything perfectly. It was how we understood the work.
But we used to have this thing, there used to be a paper in the English language examination, which was comprehension, and that's exactly what that is. It's you've got this piece of work to read, and then you have to answer questions on it, which show, have you understood it or not? It's not about remembering it, it's about, did you understand it? Do you know who's doing what? Do you know what the mood is that the author's trying to convey? I mean, that's not all a memory trick, and not all exams are about memory. Certainly mathematics isn't all about memory. Nicole, I hope you went on to do very well. Lovely to hear from you. Let's talk to Marlene in Caerphilly. Hello, Marlene. What about you? What do you think?
Hello, Vanessa.
Hi.
Well, I think the obvious problem is a lack of discipline, but that's because there are too many distractions.
You mean the phones, smartphones, really?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There are smartphones, there are computers, there are different options for young people today because they're not children, they're teenagers, but they're not able to do what we had to do in our day, which was hit the books, learn, understand, remember. Not everybody does it in the same degree, but if you actually discipline yourself for that 12 months in order to get the best out of something, one of the only things actually in your life that you get for free. And why would you miss it when it can set you up for life?
And how did you do in your exams, Marlene? How was it for you?
Oh, no, quite well, thank you. Yes, but it was a long time ago.
And what did you go on to do?
I went on to be a civil servant. I specialised in the Inland Revenue, the Income Tax Office, and eventually became the Forces Liaison Officer in the Revenue, which I did for 42 years.
Oh, my goodness. So everything you learned in those exams, you used pretty much every day of your life, and all of it was vital to your climb. Amazing, Marlene. Thank you so much. Let's go to Diane in Derbyshire. Hi, Diane.
Hello there.
You'd like to see a different way of testing children?
Oh, yes, definitely. I start at the base. I've worked with children for over 50 years.
Yes.
And when they start school, it's wonderful. It's the best experience of their life, and it should be maintained throughout all the early years going on, to when they get older. But we used to work with a tick list. Every child used to have what they've achieved. We used to tick, they can do this, they can do that. But the brightest child in the class, when it came to starting exams at far too early an age, failed miserable.
Yeah.
And I do believe you can achieve more from a child, taking it steadily throughout the year, making it fun, interesting, and wanting to do it.
Well, thank you very much. And that's after years of experience in teaching young children.
Yeah.
Diane, thank you very much indeed. I think everyone does seem to be pretty much agreed about.
I would agree with that, yeah. Just change it for one size doesn't fit all, and sitting kids down is just so restrictive sometimes.